Yes, I did. Way to go.
This is cool, actually. It's good to be here.
Got about 2 minutes. Hi, everybody. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. If there's no seating in here, there's extra seating in just right here off to the left in like the gym area. So you're welcome to go over there. They're going to be telecasting it over there, so if you don't fit in here. Hi, guys. Sorry, my hands are wet. Good.
Are these front row seats available, or are those for something else?
We're using these, but yeah, we can do a little, yeah. Or do you want to use these and then just do the time right in the middle? We can use these. We'll just switch it over to put the timing in the middle. Oh, okay. You could sit right here, very, very front row. Yeah, because someone's cut off by them. I feel like I would be in your way or something over, I don't know.
I know, I feel like, do you want us to move there?
No, you can't.
I feel like you're you are in our way, but
I know.
because they set these up.
Camille's doing the timing, so as long as
Right. I feel bad because they got the front, but.
You guys.
start my recording when you start. All right, we're going to get going. If everyone can find their seats, please. All right, I guess we'll get started. All right, well, thank you for being here this evening. My name's Carolina Herron. I'll be moderating tonight. We do have the two mayor candidates, so we have Dallas and Theron, and we have Dallas over here. This would be my right, I guess, but your left, maybe? No, your right? I can't do this. And then Theron on the left. So again, if you need extra seating, folks coming in, please direct yourself to the gym just to the left. There's plenty of seats over there, and it's being broadcasted over in that room. And basically what we're doing tonight is we have very specific questions that were submitted by each of the candidates. So each candidate submitted questions for the other candidate. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down the line for ballot order. So that's how we're going to start. That's how we're going to go through the questions. So that's why our first question tonight is going to be directed at Theron, okay? And what we're going to do is we have Camille right here. Camille, if you could raise your hand. She's going to be helping with timekeeping. And what we'll do to keep you guys in line, we're going to do 2-minute answers. And at the 30-second mark, Camille's going to hold up a yellow card, okay? That's going to give you 30 seconds to kind of get your thought process together, coming to an end. And then the red card will be your stop, all right? Any questions? All right. Do we say, let's get ready to rumble, or do we need, okay. All right, guys, so first question that was submitted by Mayor Dallas, it's gonna, go ahead. Oh, yes, we're gonna do introductions. See, I already got caught up. Okay, so introductions, we're gonna do 2 minutes each, and again, ballot order, so Theron will have you go first.
Okay, is this thing on? Sometimes I have to eat mics in order to get my voice loud enough to be heard. So first, I just want to say thank you for everybody that has come tonight, and everyone who's watching online, and everyone who's put this together. This is a unique event for Mapleton. I don't know that as long as I've been involved, we haven't had an actual debate. So this is going to be fun. I am just grateful for you guys coming here tonight. Because you care. And all of you who are watching online, you are watching because you care. You care about Mapleton. And that is why we're all here. We all moved here, or we all were raised here, and we live here now because we love it here. And tonight we're going to have a debate to see who you think should be the next mayor of Mapleton. I just want to express my gratitude for all the support that I have seen thus far, and I'm looking forward to answering these questions and any further questions that you guys might have after that. That's all.
I'd like to also thank everyone for being here this evening. This is impressive to see how many people have come out to really see what the difference is between Theron and I, and the vision that we have for our city and what we think is important. Carolina, thank you. I've met you twice. Once was at the Meet the Candidates, and now. So thank you for being here and doing this evening. You do a great job. And thanks everybody for being here, showing that you showing up here is a big deal. I'm grateful that we have people here that are willing to show up and show their interest and really vote for what the purpose of tonight is obviously to find out who it is you're going to vote for based on what the candidates up here have to present and what their vision is and what they see the future of our city is. And I've had the great opportunity for the last 7.5 years to serve you as mayor of this city. And my goal in the beginning when I started this venture, which I never thought I would do, never guessed, never wanted to do it, never wanted anything to do with it. And when I became the mayor, my goal was to do everything possible in this city to get to work and accomplish all the things we need to leave it to where someone that could come and be our mayor that's just a good, honest, hardworking person to follow through with our plan. And so you're going to learn tonight some of the things that we've done over the last 7 years, but from infrastructure studies to rebranding to capture the great feeling that we have in this city, to never let it escape. And you'll learn a lot of the things that we've done over the last 7 years and why it's critical that we go another 4 years to finish up the things that we've started. And we'll leave with that and go to the first question.
All right, so for the first question and leading questions, what we're going to do, since we're going ballot order, we're going to have Dallas answer first, since that's Theron's question for Dallas, if that makes sense. And we'll do 2-minute answers, and then after that, once that 2-minute is over, we're going to do a 2-minute debate, if you will, okay? So you'll have time to converse and rebuttal that question and do that for 2 minutes if we need to go the full 2 minutes. All right, so the first question for Dallas is, this mayor campaign has been somewhat divisive. How do you propose to restore unity to the community if you're elected?
So I don't feel that this candidacy race necessarily has been divisive. What the challenge has been and what it has caused me to do is a lot more work, is I've had to go out and help people understand what the actual truth is. So when things are put on social media like Facebook and you read them, if you don't know better, then your perception becomes reality. And so what I've had to do as the incumbent is go and spend a lot of money and a lot of time in 30 to 35 different meetings explaining the actual truth and what's happened. And every time that I've done that, it's been successful in the fact of them saying, I didn't know that, I thought it was different. So I've never posted anything online about the negative comments about my opponent or anyone else running. Everything that we've done is above board, straightforward, what the facts are, what our vision is, where we see our city going, the things that we've accomplished, and where we plan to go. And so a big part of resolving any divisiveness would be to take the things offline that are stimulating this type of action. And so I'm sure that once the debate's over and those things settle down and the election's over, then those things will settle and move forward. Now, if I'm not elected to be your mayor, trust me, I got a lot of things to do in my life and a lot of time to spend with my family. Running my businesses is one of the most fulfilling things that I do. I love those people I work with, and I will go do that, and my life will actually be simpler. So for me, it'll be simple. If you give me the opportunity to go 4 more years, I will continue to grind like I have the last 7 years to improve our city and move it forward.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of the question answer portion, so we'll open it up for 2 minutes for a rebuttal and then conversation. So Theron, if you have anything to add to that or anything you would like to say.
I feel like there's definitely been a perception that has caused some divisiveness. I think that is definitely palpable in the city. I think there's misunderstandings for sure. And I've spent a lot of my time talking to people, helping to clarify those misconceptions as well. And I hope that if there's ever been anything that I've done that have added to that divisiveness, that you can forgive me for that, because it was definitely not my intention. I think the overall point here is that elections and politics in general are just divisive, and I just hate the way that the system is set up, and the feelings of separation that we get in our community. And I've felt it, and I've seen it in people's attitudes. I've seen it in things that people have done, and I just hope that we can heal and mend that, whatever it is, and nip it in the bud as soon as we can, because that's not what Mapleton is. And I hope that as all of us look for a new leader or a continued leader, that you look for qualities in us that breed that community feeling.
One of the things, Theron, as we talked about, I sat with you before the sign up to run for mayor, and we had a discussion, and I wasn't planning on running again. I tried to make that public, but as we went through all the things that we've accomplished and the things that we were in the middle of accomplishing, the things we need to get done that are critical for securing the future of our city, and one major thing is a revenue standpoint, it was clear to me that I needed to do this one more time to finish it. And we sat and we had a good conversation for an hour and a half, and we talked about all those things and how you've had a front row seat at me leveraging relationships, using my own resources, leveraging my reputation, which is what I guard at the utmost, the highest I can, because that's all I've got. And so I've leveraged those things on behalf of our city, and we said, what's best for the city is that I continue doing this and leveraging all these things. You've had a front row seat, and you know what I'm talking about. Or is it better that we have a start over, a reset, and go forward? And I think we came to the same conclusion. And so when that's clear that if this is the best way forward for our city, and what you told me is you just wanted people to have another option, which I think is great, for people to have an option. And the clear thing is we need to make sure what the options are. And so some of the stuff that you've put online have fueled, conflict of interest, which it'll be a discussion tonight, and we'll get to the bottom of that tonight, hopefully. But you asked me in that meeting, you said, hey, why don't you just don't run for mayor and sit on the sideline and coach me for the next 4 years? And I explained to you why I couldn't do that, and we had that discussion and whatnot. And so, and you've been able to benefit from the relationships, business relationships I have when you called me and you wanted that promotion at work and you wanted me to call your boss, and I did that and whatnot. Listen, Theron's a great guy. He is. He's super nice. If you know him, he's an extremely great person. And we had the conversation like, I don't want to go through this debate.
All
I'd rather
right,
just-
time's up. Thank you for that. So now we're going to move on to our next question. This question is for Theron. What have you done as a council member to lead out on an initiative or project that has brought a clear benefit to Mapleton residents? And we'll start that with 2 minutes.
I don't know that I have ever even thought about coming up with an initiative for Mapleton. I believe that what I bring to the table is consistency, loyalty, and hardworking community person. I've been involved in lots and lots of initiatives that I think we've worked together on in the city, and they've been very, very beneficial for the city. I can't pinpoint one that I've come up with and pushed for sure. Maybe the chicken ordinance, I definitely rallied for that, so that when I first got here to Mapleton, they did not have ordinance that made it legal to own chickens, and so we pushed for that. Other little things that we've fought along the way, but I don't believe that a politician should step into office or use their seat of power to push initiatives that I think are best. I think it's better to work as a team and rally together and come up with ideas that work best for the city.
All right, we'll call that the end of that answer. Then we'll do the 2-minute conversation. And thank you for being respectful. If we could just kind of use that back and forth in the same matter. We'll start that now.
Caroline, is it 2 minutes for both of us?
2 minutes
combined?
total, yes. So that's why if we could be
Sorry, that was
respectful of each
good
other's
clarity. I didn't know
time.
if it went back to Theron after me.
No,
so that's
that
good
worked
clarity.
perfectly.
So one of the things I think that's vital that you're going to see tonight is, I think it's absolutely vital that you have a leader. This is what a leader does, in my opinion, is they go out ahead and they make plans. They see what this city is in need of. In order to do that, you have to do a whole bunch of work, and you spend a bunch of time in rooms with our city council and retreats with our staff, studying our infrastructure to make sure that it's built right. Developers, when they put infrastructure in, we need to make sure it's done right based on what the projections of our city are. One of the vital things we have at Mapleton is the feeling that we have here. We all move here. We all talk about it. It's tangible. You can almost feel it. And one of the major things that we try to do was capture that. What is it? And how do we capture that and never let it go? And a lot of us associate it with an open field with a horse in it or a cow. And you know what? That's great. That's part of it. But it's much, much deeper than that. And through the process that we did, when I let out on this initiative to say we've got to capture this, through a 10-month process, we hired a third party to help us. And through the interviews of people who have lived here their whole lives, born and raised here, we captured what that was. And what came out of it was that was one of the things that came out of Small Town, Big Heart. And if you watch the interviews that we did with these people, and you sit and watch the video we put together, it's 32 minutes on the website, you can YouTube it. It will change the hearts and the minds of us people. I told the council member that I put in charge of making the video, I said, don't make it longer than 5 minutes because no one will watch it. It was 32 minutes and I couldn't get enough of it. It truly captured what it is in Mapleton that we all love. And those are initiatives that are critical that we have a leader lead out on and go put those in front of the council. Of course, you don't do anything as a mayor without the council's vote. You can't spend money. You don't pass an ordinance. You don't do anything. And I'm grateful Theron spent his whole 6 years supporting all these initiatives we brought forward.
All right. Did you want to?
So no rebuttal to his rebuttal, right?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll give you 30 seconds. Camille, if you could do that really quick. We'll go over the 2-minute, but go ahead.
Okay. While I support that, generally, I completely agree that that is important, and it's the team's teamwork that we did to push those initiatives forward were awesome, and they were great. But I think that Dallas would lead us to believe that his abilities and his capabilities and his contacts are crucial and the only thing that matters to a sitting mayor, when there's so many more aspects of being a mayor and leading a city and building that community.
All right, thank you. Our next question, keeping with the initiative project subject, is for Dallas. What do you feel is the next most urgent task or project that Mapleton needs to accomplish?
So what we need to do through all of these studies that we've done the last 6 and 7 years is that we need to generate more revenue for our city. We are obviously have lots of developments going on. There's 3 south of town that double the size of our city. Those development agreements were signed several years before I became the mayor. We had the opportunity to renegotiate those agreements because the developers asked for things. They didn't have to do what we asked for, but one of them, for example, we got $17.5 million of value out of them. We're building a beautiful bike park that we got the council approved the 30% design plan last council meeting, and it'll start construction in April. That's an excellent benefit to our community we would never get without these types of negotiations. I'm telling you, when a city is going from a farming community to a city, there is a lot of negotiating. It's not the only thing, but it's part of the leadership. And if you have someone that has the ability to do that, well, you have a leg up for sure, because you can leverage those relationships and get the things and leverage on behalf of our city. The most important things is securing revenue for our future. Fiber, one of the most important things. It's been a wild success so far. It's vital that the next 18 to 24 months go well, so it's a success. Second one will be finalizing, securing our water. I started 6 months in. We got an agreement signed with Mapleton Irrigation Company. We met last Thursday. I'm proud to announce we've got an additional 1,000 acre feet of water just through that single agreement. They spent 6 years fighting over it. The president told me that in 5 years of negotiating, never once did the mayor show up to a meeting. That's the difference. They have not met in 7 years without me in the room, because it's that vital. The third one is municipal power. I think we can bring our power in, we can generate a lot of revenue, pattern it just like our neighboring cities, and we've started that process, and it's critical that we get it done to avoid taxes and fees being created, because that's the only other way we will get it if we don't act right now.
All right, open session, 2 minutes.
I think this is a key area where Dallas and I disagree. While I am 100% for increasing our commercial base and increasing our creative revenue, I've got ideas myself of some creative revenue. I think that is key to helping stabilize the city. But I think the difference between us is that Dallas is a builder. He's a enterprise builder, and I think that's what he sees as a solution to Mapleton's financial stability. And while I agree that we need to progress and we need to look at things that need to get built and need to push forward, and I have also voiced support for looking into potentially bringing on our own power, I think aggressively going after these things is not what we need to do right away. I think we're $25 million bonded in debt right now for the fiber program. I think we as a city need to be more like a family that has a very limited income, and that is let things settle for a bit, see where we're at financially, look at what the city needs as far as those kinds of programs and those kinds of things, and let's see what we can do to stabilize our budget by watching our spending and not going after big, huge enterprises.
This is great. This is where we absolutely differ. When you talk about bonding in a city, it's like getting a loan, so you have to leverage something for it. For our bond, for our fiber, we leverage sales tax. Next year, because the way we negotiated the loan, there's no prepayment penalty. We have enough revenue now, we can restructure the loan, we refinance it next year, and our bonding is completely open. Bonding is reliant on revenue. So when we do the power, this is not something I created or made up, by the way. A lot of cities in Utah County do it. A lot of cities around the state do it in the country. And so the revenue for itself is the bonding, is the mechanism for getting the bond. Obviously, I agree on being fiscally responsible, and that's vital. But if you don't act now, you won't get it.
All right. Okay, our next question, this is for Theron. You have served on the Wage, Personnel, and Budget Committee for several years now. This is helping to set pay for full-time, part-time, and volunteer positions, including the role you've held as a paid EMS volunteer. In that time, you've been paid around $62,000. You've stated on your website that you don't have any conflict of interest. Isn't this a conflict of interest? If yes, why or why not?
I would like to know if that $62,000 includes my stipend for city council.
I'm unsure. The question just says you've received $62,000. I'm not sure it divides it up.
Okay. I think this is the easy one. All of us council members get $500-600 a month for a stipend for serving on the council. As a volunteer EMT, I first made $1 an hour as a stipend for being an EMT volunteer. And now, as I've worked up the ranks and increased certifications, I'm making a whole $4 an hour. That is for me as a stipend to cover the hundreds and hundreds of hours of training that I've done, the hundreds and hundreds of hours of shifts that I've taken. I think it's kind of funny and a joke to compare conflict of interest at $4 an hour as a volunteer EMT to some other bigger, more egregious, clear-cut, high-level conflicts of interest when thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars is going into the pocket of the mayor. I think that's where the difference is, and trying to call me out on my conflict of interest with being an EMT is, I think, kind of a joke.
So the state website is what that information comes from, and it's 62 for EMT. The mayor amounts on top of that.
That just means I put in a ton of hours as an EMT then, I guess.
So that's something you'll have to figure out with the state, probably, what's been reported. So conflict of interest, this is the one thing that has been used by my opponent it's the only thing he has to be able to give to me to say that I've got an issue. I have filed every year any potential conflict of interest every year with the city. Those documents get filed. Anybody can come look at them. Obviously, Theron has certified that he has no potential conflict of interest or conflict of interest. What my opponent is referring to is Rhino Excavating, who many of you have heard, and I've had this conversation in 30-plus meetings. And in 2024, Rhino was awarded a contract that was a city project. It was $1.5 million. That's what the contract was. They got paid $1.5 million. There was no change orders. The next closest bid was $1.4 million over that. In the city council meeting, obviously, when a bid opening is done, it's done in front of the city staff with all the competitors around. They open them, and that comes before the council, and the council has to vote whether they're going to use that bid or not. Theron passed the motion and assured the public there is no issue here. We've vetted this out. You can watch the city council meeting. It was in 2024. And then he passed the motion and voted for it. It wasn't until that there was an election time that it became a problem. And so the fact that there is a potential conflict of interest because you create the wages in the back room and then you vote on them as a council member, it doesn't matter if you're receiving $1 or $50. The fact is you created those wages, and you know you're going to turn around and receive them from payment to yourself. And so if you don't think that's a potential conflict of interest, that's a problem. I have filed those conflict of interest. The council and everyone, do we get an extra 30 seconds?
We're doing that's the 2-minute, so we're going to
gotcha.
go into the debate portion.
Okay, so this, thank you, Carolina. So this conflict of interest
Seconds.
at Rhino Excavating saving the city $1.4 million is a benefit to the council. We got 2 additional public works jobs done in 2024 because of it. Now, I understand that the perception of that is not good. That's why I instructed my people who run these businesses to not bid work at the city while I'm the mayor. They ended up bidding a couple jobs at the city. They got one that they were low on, and it was this one. And if you watch the city council meeting, he assured the public, the mayor doesn't vote. If the council says, no, we're not doing this, we don't do it.
All right. So 30 seconds, Theron, if you need a rebuttal on that.
All I'll say with that is, I think I'm being misinterpreted on that, because I think if you go back and watch that city council meeting, while I acknowledge absolutely, and I still do today, that what Dallas has done is completely legal, there's anything illegal done. What I voiced at that time and the time a year and a half ago when his company bid on the job, the only two that I knew of at the time, was that it made me uncomfortable, and it made a lot of citizens that I talked to very uncomfortable, and it just looked bad.
All right. So our next question is for Dallas. You've served 2 terms as mayor now. Looking back on those 2 terms, is there anything that you would do differently?
Yes, of course, there always is. The more knowledge you gain, the more you wish you'd have had that knowledge then. One of the biggest things, when you walk into my place of work where we actually make money, which is not here at the city, in my place of work, there's a big quote on the wall. It says, "It's amazing what can be accomplished if no one cares who gets the credit." And what I've done here as your mayor is I have flat out gone in the back rooms and grinded with our staff, with other cities, with hiring people, determining how we move this city forward from every study, from infrastructure. When I became the mayor, no studies were done. It was a volunteer fire department. I did things that most people wouldn't do because it was a political train wreck. When we decided to go full-time fire and EMS, it was one of the greatest decisions we made in the city. I've had people come to this pulpit in this room. At least you can count, it'd take 2 hands to count on and say, thank you for that decision. You saved my life because of the response time. That would not have been the case previously. And we have the best firefighting equipment and best life-saving equipment you can find over there. When we made that decision, Spanish Fork City opened. We made $1.2 million in ambulance transfers, income to our city. Had we not done that, no city around us was qualified to do that. And so those are the things I'm very proud of. What I wished I'd have done is found out a way to get all this information of all these things we were doing in your hands so that you could see it, you could read it, and be aware of it. It's not my style. My style is to go back there. If you don't know in 20 years how this benefited you, you just know that you got a great benefit, I'm totally fine with that. I'm not doing this for any reason, and I haven't done this for any reason except to better this city that I love, that I somehow got lucky to discover, and I want to make it better than the way I left it. And my goal is to do everything possible in the short time that I have to improve it to where I leave no other reason for someone to say, Dallas didn't do this, Dallas didn't do this. And that's what I've done.
All right, so 2 minutes, and we'll keep it at 2 minutes. If we need to, Camille, can we divide? We'll do a minute and minute, okay? We'll keep it with not 2 minutes. So Theron, if you have any rebuttal to that, we'll give you a minute, and then we'll come back to Dallas with a minute. All right.
Yeah, I'll just say well, let me speak to the fire department. I think that was definitely a good move. We definitely needed to grow as a fire department. But I think one comment I'll make, defending myself and all of those who were on the fire department prior to that move, is that the firefighters got a bad rap for some behavior they had, and Dallas continues to say, well, ever since he created the full-time fire department, that now lives are being saved. But I guarantee you that there have been great people for decades prior to that saving people's lives right here in Mapleton, and they don't get the credit because of this change and because of the hype that Dallas keeps wanting to put on him changing this to a full-time fire department, and those people are in the shadows, and I want to give them credit. I just think that there's a lot more to a city than big, huge, high accomplishments. I think there are things that the city has suffered over the past few years that were under Dallas's watch, and I think it's time for a change.
All right, so a minute.
So I'm extremely grateful for all those volunteers in the fire department prior. In fact, we sat in this room, called them all in here, just like this, and had the conversation. The first thing I did was thank them for the service they've given out of their own time, their own lives, to come and serve here at our fire and EMS. Vital. And so that absolutely was clear. There's no question about it. But they really did not agree with my decision to move to a full-time fire. And Darren can attest to that. Had to call another meeting the next day. It was not an easy thing. But I went and studied with Chief Clinton in Provo, who has 30 years of experience. or in Springville, Chief McGill and Provo, who has 30 years experience, both retired, rehired fire chiefs. They've been through this transition 3 or 4 times each. And they sat me down, they said, this is what's gonna happen, you have to hold strong. And they're gonna say this and do this, you have to hold strong. And I did, and I listened to them, and we moved forward exactly what they said, and I'll be danged if it wasn't exactly the way that they said it. So we held strong and didn't listen to the rumors, and we got it done.
All right, we're going to move on to the next set of questions, but just really quick, I've been asked to let you guys know if you could talk a little bit louder, but with the mic further away from your mouth. It's just causing a little issue, especially in the other room. So just keep that in mind. All right, so next question is going to be for Theron. What past experience do you have working with businesses or developers that shows you're ready to handle those negotiations as mayor?
Great question. I was actually hoping for this question. I think there's a lot more to me and me being underestimated that has happened. And I'm ready to showcase those things. I can tell you all of my experiences that I've had in my life. I can tell you about my professional career and all the things that I've accomplished in my life, but that's just going to be you having to believe me. I think that Dallas has great connections, and he has done great things, but I think that he thinks that he's the only one that can do that, and I disagree. I think there are other people, myself included, who have experience with contract negotiations with hundreds and hundreds of companies, with purchase negotiations. I don't have a lot of experience with land development, and I think that's a plus. I'll just tell you that. I don't think that a mayor, there's hundreds and hundreds of cities and towns across this country who have mayors who have never had any experience with land developers, and I don't think that is as needed as Dallas thinks it is.
All right, we'll start the 2 minutes, so let's do 1 and 1 again, okay?
Yeah, sounds good. So in my opinion, when you're taking a farming community and turning it into an actual developed city, I'm telling you it's absolutely vital that you have someone that can speak the language, understand it, that understands infrastructure plans, that understands how to do the studies so that when it's done, is that better? When it's done and the developers build it and give it to the city, it's done right. Otherwise, it costs us in this room as taxpayers to go fix it. So it's absolutely vital that you have someone that understands that language. There's no way we get the $17 million worth of value out of them, the 20 acres of park at Sunrise Ridge, the additional half acre with the restrooms on the trail that's being built now, out of these developers if you don't understand it. Now, I know I'm not the only one that can do this. I understand that. There's other people that can do this. I happen to be in front of you today with a track record. 7.5 years of a track record. I have given everything I can, time, energy, effort, focus to this city, and I'm willing to do it again for 4 more years. Does Theron have great qualities? Yes.
All right.
But I'm here to keep going.
We'll go to Theron for 1 minute.
I'll just say this. I think it's being forgotten that when you negotiate at high levels like that, there has to be a cost, right? There's give and take. Well, what has Mapleton given to these developers in order to get that stuff? I think it's crucial that we remember that and understand that at what cost. It came at density, and it came at whatever else that Mayor Hakes negotiated, because it was behind the scenes, and we as city council members learned about it later. So I think it's important to remember that those negotiations, while I have the capability of doing them, I'm not scared of that at all. We just need to be careful of who's in the room, who's doing it, and what is the cost that comes to Mapleton City.
All right, we'll go to the next set of questions. This one's for Dallas. What are 2 leadership traits that you feel are key to the duties of a mayor?
I think Theron just mentioned them. That's great. Don't forget, the mayor doesn't have a wand and he doesn't get to say yes, no, yes, no. Yes. That's not the way the city works. There's 5 council members up here. That Theron's been one of them for the last 6 years. And no matter what I negotiate, no matter what, it comes right before this council and gets presented every detail to the finest detail of what we're getting in exchange. And Theron has voted for every single one of them, not against any of them, because they're great deals. I agree. I would have too. I can't blame him. But that's the fact of the matter. So when you say what's been done behind the closed doors, nothing here gets done behind closed doors. All the meetings and the prep and trying to say, what are our needs? How do we solve them? Yeah, that gets done behind doors. There's not enough time to sit at this pulpit. It's 2 or 3 hours a day sometimes, meeting with them, our staff. What is needed? What's the vision? How do we get there? Yeah, that takes a lot of time. Then the presentation comes here to the council and they have to vote. If they say no, as you know, Theron, it doesn't go. It's a no. It has to be at least a 3-2 vote. And I can confidently say it's been a 5-0 vote 98 or more percent of the time. So I'm grateful that the council has supported us in this vision because it is the right direction. It is the vision of our city. The reason you can be sure of that is because we've done the studies. We've seen them. You've watched them be prepared. Not by me, by third parties we've hired that do this at cities all over the country. This is what they do for work. And so you hire them to do it, they bring the information, you present it to the council, and hopefully they make the right decision, which we have. So I'm super grateful for that. This takes courage. It's difficult. Some of these decisions that you're making aren't the most popular ones. It takes courage, and you need time to do it. It's very difficult to do this job with what it requires today in today's world. In 10 years or in 5 years, it may not take so much time, but today, you need to have a good 10, 12, 15 hours set aside that you can be here between 9 to 5, maybe after 5, but you got to be able to move when something happens, and I have the ability to do that.
All right. Next question. Actually, I apologize. Let's do the 2-minute. So a minute and then a minute.
I would just say, when I get given the chance to do these negotiations, I'm going to bring a city council member or two with me to those negotiations. I get it that we had really good negotiations brought to us, and then we voted for them based on what we saw and based on what we heard, absolutely. But I think it's important that we have more than just the mayor in the room when we're doing those negotiations, as far as an elected official goes. That's what I'd say to that. But the question was, what traits make a good mayor? And I think that is what I want to speak to the most, and that is a relatable person that knows the community, that knows the people, that the people know him or her, and that they have been amongst the people laboring right alongside of them. And that, to me, is the characteristics of a true leader, and that's the characteristics of a leader that Mapleton needs.
All right, we'll go into 1 minute.
So, time and courage. Any city council member knows they're invited to every single meeting. They can show up or not show up. It's up to them. But if you have a 9-to-5 job, it's difficult to show up 2 or 3 days in a row at 9 o'clock. I get it. So I don't put a requirement on anyone. We have responsibilities that get divvied up amongst the city council members, and they on their own time go do them and report back to us as staff and the council so that we can make the right decisions, which Theron's done a good job of in his responsibilities, I believe. And but it takes time, and that's why you can say, well, yeah, we want someone in there. Well, keep showing up when I show up, and we'll see how long that lasts. At some point, you got to go back to work. I have somehow, some way been blessed to be in a position to take the appropriate time, to be here when I need to be here. Do I love doing that? No, I don't love doing it. But I love this city enough that it has convinced me that it is absolutely vital that we get this right.
All right. Our next question is going to be for Theron, and this will end our individual questions. We have time for one question that we'll do after this one, just for both of you. This one is, our city is growing, and with that comes greater facility and staffing needs. What is your plan to address those needs over the next 4 years, and how do you intend to fund them?
Great question. I think we did a feasibility study on our infrastructure, on our facilities, and that gleaned us lots of good information about where we're at, what we need as far as buildings, where we're at on capacity on our buildings, and where we need to be in the future. I don't think that feasibility study said anything about rushing into stuff. I think overall, we need to make sure and keep tabs on it. I think right off the bat, I think we're behind the 8 ball on a fire department in the south part of town. I think we should push towards that. I think a community building or something that could help this building expand as it's getting pushed to the limits is definitely something that we need to absolutely look at. But jumping at bonding to build a building right away is absolutely not what we need. We need to settle. We need to realize where we're at on budget. We need to make sure that we do whatever it takes to not have to raise taxes. And if we bond on a building too soon before we can afford it, then we're going to be forced to raise taxes, and I am 100% against that.
All right, so 1 minute, and then back to you for another minute.
So the fire department's critical. We've been having this discussion for about 3 years now, ever since we negotiated 2 acres of land for a fire department in that same development. I forgot to mention that. But that was one of the negotiations, which is great because we got the land for free. So if that's $250,000, that's another $500,000 worth of value. We've been having that discussion since that development negotiation was 4 or 5 years ago. So our city council retreats at the end of the year. We have a plan and have had a plan every year where the council chimes in and says, yeah, I agree with the plan, let's continue to move forward. It wasn't until the election started that Theron had a different idea of when the fire station should be built. And so he says that we don't want to raise taxes for a bond. Then I'm curious to how Theron's going to pay for the building, because it's going to be $8 to $10 million, and how we're going to fund it, because it's going to cost between $1 and $1.2 million in staffing every year, that I'm here to tell you is not in our budget. So if you want to go build that building right now, you are going to raise taxes because it's not in there, and you are going to have to bond for the building.
All right, 1 minute.
I'll say this, one, I didn't say we need to build a building right now. Two, the land was already negotiated prior to Dallas's taking over his role as mayor. $6 million is what my research is, going on tours of many fire departments in the state, especially recently, and today's dollars gets us a really good fire station. The $1.2 million for staffing, I think, is aggressive. I think we can, knowing the fire department myself, it is not unrealistic at all to say we can have a fire station within 2 years with grants paying for majority of that building. The land is already free, and the staffing that we already have is abundant, and we could easily take 1 or 2 of our guys and staff that building down there with the staffing that we currently have. I think it's within 2 years, 3 years, very realistic, based on my research, to get a fire station where we need it and not have to raise taxes.
All right, we're going to do a quick lightning round. I think we can squeeze in 2 questions. So we'll do a minute each, okay? So just keep that in mind. I'm going to stop you right at that minute mark, okay? All right, first question. Let's see, I just asked there, and so I'll ask you first, and then you get to answer. How do you propose that the city balance the desire for open space with individual property rights for development? We'll do 1 minute. Okay?
Sorry, say that one more time, Carolina.
How do you propose that the city balance the desire for open space with individual property rights for development? So I
Well,
guess just versus.
Yeah,
right?
so what we've done, and some of you may have seen this, we put it out there, we've negotiated over 50 acres of open space since we finished the general plan. We put Sean Conroy, our community developer, development coordinator, to work, and we met with landowners. We had farmland, that asking them if they're willing to contribute some of their land as open space, create some sort of development agreement with them now, so when the land changed hands, we knew what we were getting, rather than taking 30 acres and creating 60 homes, that we could count on 15 or 20 acres of open space. So we've done that. You cannot, some of it you can't force on people. They have property rights. But if you have the right conversations with them, there's hope, like we've had. Those people didn't have to do that, and we've been successful at doing that on some of those. So it's just meeting with the people and being a person just like them, not demanding it, but working through it with them and helping understand the vision of our city and asking if they will participate with us. That's one of the most critical ways.
All right, would you like me to restate the question?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, perfect.
I think
1
this is a very common question. We are all thinking it because we've all been thinking it for years and years. To me, the key to balancing the property rights with open space is just to stick to our zoning laws. I mean, that's pretty simple. When a developer comes to the table and wants to negotiate and wants to ask for a zone change, we just say no. Like I've said no every single time that it's come to my vote when a zone change is not appropriate. I think that is why zoning regulations exist, and that's what we need to stick to our guns. Negotiating, like I said, just comes at a cost, and usually that's density.
All right. Okay, our last question prior to us moving to your closing statements. We'll do 1 minute each. How would you balance the community's desire for more or improved public services with the community's desire to keep low property taxes? And we'll backwards, since you answered the last one first, we'll have Theron answer this one first, and then Dallas.
You said public safety, right?
Public services, the community's desire to keep public services low property tax, but the community's desire to improve those public services.
Great question. That is the ultimate goal and job of elected officials. That is the number one task that citizens task with elected officials is, hey, we have a budget and we have wants and we have needs. How do you balance that? It's just as simple as balancing a family budget. You just figure out what your income is, and if you can afford to find new ways to bring that income in, then you should take every opportunity to do that. And even research more opportunities to find creative revenue. But I think watching our costs and making sure that what we want as far as citizens doesn't creep. The only way to know that is to know the people and to be amongst the people and to serve amongst them and know what it is they want and what is a want and what is a need. To me, it's that simple.
All right, 1 minute.
So, thank goodness we redid the general plan was one of the initiatives that we took so that Theron could be empowered to vote the right way on zoning, which is great. That was another thing that we initiated and did during my administration. Now, this whole idea about balancing a budget, we've done it for 7 years. We've had anywhere from $200,000 to $400,000 in excess in our budget. We've been able to move that to the general fund. We've been able to save that for rainy day. We've spent more money in asphalt in this city in the last 7.5 years than we have since the streets were built. Now, creating, just like Theron said, we need to look for additional ways to create revenue. Yes, it's vital, and you have to act now to prevent that from 10 to 12 years from now. It doesn't, you start that process in 10 to 12 years. You do it now to prevent that, or else you will only get it through rising property taxes. That's the only way. Unless someone can come down here and show me how to get it. The retail on that highway will bring us such minuscule revenue. We've studied it. It's not going to move the needle. So you're right. We need to get creative, and we do it right now. And that's the plan I have.
All right, well, thank you. We've come to closing arguments here, closing statement. So we're going to give each of you 2 minutes. And again, going with ballot order is what we've been doing the whole night. Our first closing statement is going to be for Theron, 2 minutes, and then we'll move to Dallas with 2 minutes. Camilla, we good? All right.
All right. Thank you, Carolina. You've done a great job. I appreciate you being here tonight and helping us with this. I think you are a non-biased participant, and you do a great job. Thanks again to all of you who have come and all of you who are watching. I think this speaks millions of words that can't be spoken to how this city cares about this community and how you as citizens care, and whether it comes down to 2 great men and a slight differences that we have. I think the key to the community staying vibrant and alive and moving forward with good progression is a leader who understands the people and understands the people what they want, what they need, and who they are and what their lives are like. I think my experience on the council for 6 years, my previous experience on the planning commission previous to that for 3 years, qualifies me to know and understand all of the intertwinings of this city and to step right into this role as mayor without any hiccups. I think my background and my dedication to this city, volunteering hundreds and hundreds of my own hours specifically to city projects and to city initiatives, shows my dedication to this city. And all the while I was doing those hundreds and hundreds of hours, I was doing it amongst you, rubbing shoulders with you as citizens and understanding what it is that makes you tick, what your backgrounds are, what you do for a living, your wants, your needs, your struggles and your trials. And I think that is the type of leader that we need, is somebody who is in the trenches all the time with the citizens. And I would greatly appreciate your vote this next November in 4 weeks. And I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move to 2 minutes.
Thank you, Carolina. Thanks for doing this. You're the bomb. I don't think anybody will ever mess with you. So good job. I'm afraid to go past the red card there. Thanks, everybody, for being here. This is vital. We're at a crossroads in our city. That's all there is to it. And you've seen the difference between the two candidates tonight. I hope that you would make a decision based on what the most critical things for our city are. Now, if you want a mayor that's going to be out and be at every city event and show his face at every event possible in the city, that's not me. That would be your candidate. That's what he likes to do, that's what he loves to do, and I don't blame him for it. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want a mayor that's willing to go to the grind every single day for you and on your behalf, I don't need to actually know all of your wants and desires. I know you like when the toilet flushes, it works. When you open the water, it works. When you've called 911, it works, and it works fast. All of these services, you need fiber, you need fast internet to live your lives. I understand that, I know that. We've put committees together to understand this, of residences in our city to understand these things. That is what I'm about. And I am about making sure that in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, when I am not the mayor, because I promise you I won't be, from 5 years from today, and I may not be the mayor after November, I don't know. But if I am, I promise you I won't be 5 years from that. And if you want a mayor that's willing to give of his resources, his time, and his ability to negotiate and work with people, Mike Mendenhall, Mayor of Spanish Fork, Matt Packard in Springville, I've had 20-year working relationships with those individuals. They respect me, I respect them. We get down to business. We don't start at a fresh relationship. We're already working. I could go on and on about the deals that we've done in our city that Theron's very aware of that we have not bonded for, and it's lots of money. And we've got them to do it because of those relationships, then I will be your mayor. And I will be at the grind, and I will do everything I can to create this revenue to ensure your property taxes and your fees don't go up. It's the biggest trigger in our city. Everyone talks about it. There's lots of fixed incomes. We've got to protect those. And the way we do that is act right now. You cannot wait. We cannot wait. If we wait, we will pay for it.
All right. Thank you so much. We have come to the conclusion of this evening. So just really quick, keep your eyes out for your ballots. I know all of you here are involved. That's why you're here and you're going to vote. But make sure you tell your family, friends, and your neighbors and those around you to make sure they vote. We were made aware that folks did not understand that there's another round of voting. So make sure you get out and vote. And thank you for being here. Thank you to our candidates. And then also really quick, if you would like to stay, we have the council candidates coming up at 7 o'clock. We're going to try to start right at 7, so that's 7 minutes for a quick break, and then just come right back in. Thank you. Oh, yeah, because you're not able to stand in the back? Oh, yeah. We wanted it to be a little more accessible to council people. There's so many of them up there. Oh, yes. Last time they were up there. Yes. Yeah. Great job, Mom. Oh, thanks. Try to let them finish.
Oh, you've been over here. Oh.
We want to see the camera. What was the last
Good job. Now snag these chairs before they get.
Yeah.
Oh, you're okay. I think we got room there.
everybody. We're going to start in 5 minutes. So 5 minutes, and we're going to get started with the council candidate debate. 5 minutes, okay?
What do you mean? Meaning you've changed all the screens, so you have to go in there and make sure.
Oh, yeah, I have to.
So the adjustments of the screen. The only thing we got to do is just adjust the screen.
I gotta go adjust the cameras. Oh, really?
A little lower. You guys want to go up there? Okay. Can you move that screen?
Yeah, but,
Let's go.
yeah,
Yep.
you guys will, I gotta see some of the mics.
Test, test,
Test.
test, test.
If it's easier for the cameras and
Testing.
Test, test, test.
Test, test. Test, test.
oh, hey, you did great.
Thanks, thanks. Now good luck. Get her done.
Okay, this one is closed. And this one's closed.
This is
Does all have
this
water?
is half of Francis Gibson.
Okay. Yeah. All right, everyone out there in the hallway, we're going to get started, so come on in. If you can hear me. I don't know if they can hear me. They're kind of, all right, we're going to get started. 1 minute here, I'm just going to tell everybody. We're just going to wait for Camille. She's our timekeeper. All right, we'll get going. All right, guys, welcome. This is the council candidate debate forum. So we have Jake Lake, Francis Gibson, Melanie Bott, and Casey Beck. And I just told Casey, and I believe Jake heard me, but full disclosure, I do know Melanie and Francis. I do not know Casey and Jake, but I just met them tonight. But I just wanted to put that out there. So what we're going to do is we have 5 questions, and we're just going to go down the line, each of those questions. Each of you will have the chance to do a 2-minute answer, or I apologize. We're going to do a 1-30-second answer to each of the questions. And then we'll probably do some rebuttal if your name gets mentioned specifically, or if someone's really itching to answer that. We'll do about 30 seconds to 1 minute rebuttal, depending on our time. And then to start off, we're going to do a 2-minute introduction for each of you. And I apologize, ballot order. Can you help me with the ballot order? I didn't have it for this one. Are we in ballot order? Okay, perfect. So we'll start with Casey and go from there, and then we'll just kind of hop to each one following each question. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so we'll start with 2-minute introductions. Casey.
Great, thank you. It's nice to meet you again, Carolina. We did stage a mutiny, and we wanted to be up here rather than down there, so thanks for bearing with us. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. In the primary, we had a 42% voter turnout rate, which was the second highest in Utah County, and so we can pat ourselves on the back for that. Clearly, Mapleton residents care about their community, they care about the issues facing our community, and the leaders that they vote to represent them. I've been fortunate enough to have the privilege of being on the City Council since 2022 and representing you. It's been a great experience, and I'd love the opportunity to continue for the next 4 years and represent you and be reelected. A little about me, I work in intellectual property services and software. I have and have co-founded a nonprofit. I have 5 kids, ages 14 all the way down to 2. We love hiking, biking, gardening, and Mapleton, of course. I ran for office in 2021 because a developer was pushing for a development project in my neighborhood that was against the rural character of my neighborhood, and we were fortunate to win the issue, and that kind of made me passionate about protecting Mapleton's rural character and charm. And so this has been my kind of mission on the City Council to protect Mapleton from out-of-control development and preserve what we all believe is best about Mapleton, the small town feel or charm. We're in a rapid growth phase right now, and that brings lots of challenges. As we go about facing these challenges, we do have limitations. We have a small budget. We have lost a balance, but we have to make sure we get at least, especially 2 things right: public safety and preserving what's best about Mapleton, our small town charm. And if reelected, those will continue to be my 2 priorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Before we move on to Melanie, I apologize. Most of our audience is aware, but we're going to do 30-second yellow card, okay? And then the red will be your stop time. Okay, 2 minutes.
All right, thank you for being here this evening. I have a privilege of being up here with 3 great individuals, great leaders in the community. I am running for City Council because I'm deeply committed in the community. As a community-minded and service-oriented individual, I am a small business owner and someone who believes that service isn't something that we just do, it's who we are. And I currently serve as the president and CEO of the Springville Mapleton Chamber of Commerce. I have a deep passion for business, and that's something that we need to look at here in our community as we continue to grow. We are growing out. It's planned out for the residential, and now we really need to focus on the commercial strip, and that's where I have a great passion in. I also serve on the Planning Commission. I've had the opportunity to be a part of that, and as well as the chair of the Mapleton Community Preparedness, where we focus on our physical preparedness here within our community, and I have a great desire and passion to bring in a mental aspect of that as well. Recently, I was also nominated to serve on the Utah Suicide Prevention Committee and Coalition. And so something that I am passionate about, I put myself in the positions to do the hard work and make it happen. And so when I have that passion, I show that dedication through my service. As a mother and someone who continues to volunteer through this community, through schools, through PTA, I know and see the heart of Mapleton. I've helped organize many events in our community and bring community events to bring the businesses and the community members together, because as we work together, we thrive. We're able to bring a greater purpose and connection within our community. I know we've talked a lot about the small town values of our community, and a lot of that comes with connection. I'm here to be the bridge between our residents and our city to help be that connection. And thanks for being here.
All right, Francis?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if the overflow is overflowing or if this is just it. So we're glad that you're here, and thank you for staying. Ironically, I would argue that this is probably the most important race. This is the race that makes the decisions. I think as we heard our other two folks speak before, both Theron and Mayor Hanks, they can help set a vision, a negotiation, or a plan, but it's actually the city council that makes those decisions. A lot of the great things our city has done over the last 7, 8 years almost is because of our council member Casey Beck and then our council member Theron, both agreeing a lot of the vision, a lot of the things that have been set forth. I've lived in Mapleton for 25 years. To my knowledge, I think the longest of anyone running in any of the races. I served on the city council 20 years ago here, and our city was 4,000 people, maybe 4,500. We've tripled in size in those 20 years, and our budget's tripled in 20 years, but rightfully so when you have that many more people and that many more things that need to be taken care of. I also served 14 years in the state legislature representing this area, and Representative Steve White replaced me about 4 years ago. And so I've had 4 years just to kind of sit back and watch and see our city continue to develop and continue to move forward. Why am I doing it again? Because I think there are important things that are coming. One of the important things I did as a state legislator was to be able to get the funding for the new exit between Springville and Spanish Fork. And if you drive that route now, that is actually being built and hopefully will be built and completed soon. We're going to have big transportation issues in the city. That is something I would like to use my expertise in terms of knowing where funding comes from the state, where it comes from the feds, and how it gets down to our local area. I've got the yellow card, but really quick, I would be remiss if I didn't say my wife and I had 32 years, 4 kids, and 2 granddaughters.
All right, Jake, I'm sorry. I was just getting clarification here.
Good.
Go ahead, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you for sticking around for this part of the debate. I've had the privilege of serving with all 3 of these members, Casey throughout the community in my service in Mapleton, Melanie, she and I served on the Planning Commission for a couple of months, but in the Springville Chamber of Commerce, she's done a phenomenal job, and Francis and I have coached high school football together for many years. These are 3 very, very good, outstanding citizens who've dedicated their time and talents to the city, and I want to appreciate them, and it's an honor to run against them and with them to better this community. So first off, my name is Jake Lake. I've lived in Mapleton for the past 19 years. My wife and I have raised 4 teenagers here in Mapleton. We love Mapleton. We love the sense of community, the service that Mapleton offers. My wife and I have had the privilege of serving in many different areas of Mapleton. First, early on, I served about a year on the Economic Development Committee for Mapleton. Learned a lot about the lack of economic development Mapleton had in the early 2010s, 2012s. And then was fortunate enough to serve in the Planning Commission for 6 years, 2 years as an alternate member, and then 4 years as a full-time member. I enjoyed my service on the Planning Commission, and most recently, my wife and I have served the last 5 years serving this community as the executive committee over the Pioneer Day celebration, which we get to throw on probably the biggest celebration in the state for Pioneer Days. It's been an honor. So with that, I love Mapleton. I love the balance. I love our strong sense of tradition paired with the future for Mapleton. My commitment is to preserve the character and charm we treasure while making smart, thoughtful decisions as council members about growth and development. I believe that every family deserves community where we feel safe, supported, and heard. If elected to council, I'll continue to serve with integrity, transparency, genuine care for the people of Mapleton. My promise is simple: to be a strong voice for our residents, to listen first, to ensure that every decision honors both the values we hold dear and the future we are building together.
All right, thank you. So that concludes the introduction phase. We're going to move on to our questions. We have 5 questions total. 1 question is a 2-part question. We're going to do 1 minute and 30 seconds for each of you to respond. So we'll start with Casey on this one. How do you prioritize the needs of infrastructure, parks and recreation, and public safety, and how would you propose to increase revenue to fund these needs? 1 minute and 30.
Thank you. What has worked in the last 4 years is creating master plans for each area that we're talking about: infrastructure, roads. We created a master trails plan. We've been very proactive about getting ahead of the issues that we'll be having someday. So That in combination with borrowing best practices from cities, getting public opinion, working with outside consultants to create these master plans to get public opinion on where to go with these different needs that we have. At the end of the day, we try to execute, but we have to be adaptable to the growth challenges that we have. For example, there's a lot of growth happening on the south end. The master trails plan, or sorry, the facilities master consultants, they gave projections. The general plan, they gave projections, and we're exceeding those projections. So we have to be nimble, and with the different master plans we have to be nimble based on those and respond to the growth that we have. And as far as looking for creative revenue sources, fully supportive of those. We have to. We have a very limited budget. We have to manage our budget and prioritize needs over wants. And so to get more of that, we have to look into creative solutions for extra revenue.
All right, Melanie, same question to you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
All right. How do you prioritize the needs of infrastructure, parks and recreation, and public safety, and how would you propose the increased revenue to fund these needs? Minute 30.
Yes, to prioritize it, we have to look at the needs of the city, what's needed, where it's needed. We also need to get the input of the citizens. There's greater needs in one area than others. Coming up with the budget, we have to set a budget. The city council every beginning of the year sets their budget and then compares that with the needs. So the most important part of that is making sure that we're getting the input of the citizens. We get great input from our staff, but we also need the input of our citizens to find out where that need is. And so that is where I prioritize it, to keep that communication open, and then finding the revenue sources. Where are we finding that funding from? The creative revenue sources. I know that 89 isn't going to bring in a lot of income, and so like the fiber, are we finding the creative funds through that way?
Right. Thank you. Francis, next to you.
Thank you. So I think I would rate them, I'd rate infrastructure first, public safety second, parks and recs third. Infrastructure, looking at water, sewer, roads, all of those things are very important. Without those, it inhibits your ability to potentially have public safety in some areas. When I served in the council, sounds like forever ago, 20 years ago, there was an Ensign Bigford plant on the end of town, and we had real issues with contaminated water, and we ran a lot of our water through coal filters and things of that nature. It was through planning that we actually created a reservoir and worked with the Central Utah Water Project, bringing water from Strawberry Reservoir through the canyon into the city to a situation now where we have a lot of excess water, and we're able to sell that. I think if you were here just an hour ago or less than an hour ago, you heard Mayor Hakes talk about other alternatives for funding. I fully support those. Those are all infrastructure related. Fiber, infrastructure. Water, infrastructure. Utilities are all infrastructure related. If you have a strong infrastructure and an infrastructure that allows you to create more revenue, then public safety enhances, and then potentially parks and rec.
All right. Jake, we'll move over to you. Minute 30 seconds.
Okay, just so I remember, infrastructure, parks and rec, public safety, and funding these, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so infrastructure, parks and rec, and public safety. I think we have some amazing individuals that work for our city, from Chief Jackson to Logan Miner to our engineers. There's a lot of great people that work in our city who have firsthand knowledge of everything our city needs. So meeting with Chief Jackson, meeting with Logan Miner, understanding our needs for parks and recs, understanding our needs for public safety with Chief Jackson and our city staff, meeting with them, understanding their needs, then going out and meeting with the public. One thing that I've talked to many residents and seen on social media is one of the questions was, how does certain roads get prioritized infrastructure-wise throughout the city over some other roads that have not been maintained or updated? So meeting with the residents paired with meeting with the staff, I think, are huge and crucial to understanding the city's needs and how we fund these. I think Mayor Hakes has done a phenomenal job. I can remember, it was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and he probably could tell you, I sat with him outside of his house after picking up my son at a football practice, and he had this desire to bring fiber. I thought he was crazy at the time, but has been hugely successful. And I think pairing that with what his plans and the motions that the city staff and his city council staff has done with power is another way we can fund these needs for the city moving forward.
All right. So next we're going to move on to our, if you guys, anybody need an extra 30 seconds to discuss that? No, we're good? Okay, just want to make sure. We're going to move on to our second question then. And this one, Melanie, you're going to go first. When new commercial development proposals come before the city, how would you strike a balance between promoting economic growth and protecting neighborhood character while ensuring residents' voices are truly heard? So minute 30.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people, everybody, I think here, moved here because it is a smaller town, very focused on the community, and we don't have a huge area for business to come in except for down 89. And so it's really vital and important to, I don't want to say pick and choose which businesses because we can't deny that growth, but we do need to think smart. As we want to look for businesses that will support our community, support the small town, and we want to definitely get the input of our citizens, especially those residents that live in the vicinity of that proposed area. Is everything okay? No. Oh, okay. Sorry. And so, again, it just goes back to making sure that communication is open. And a huge part of that with communication is education. Are we educating our citizens of the need and the importance and how it can benefit our community? And so that conversation is not just here's a proposal, this is what we're going to do. It's here's a proposal, this is why, and this is how it can benefit us or not benefit us. And so, again, it just goes back to that communicating with our residents, especially those around it, and seeing what the needs fit within our community.
All right, thank you, Francis. We'll go to you.
Could you repeat that?
Yes. When new commercial development proposals come before the city, how would you strike a balance between promoting economic growth and protecting neighborhood character while ensuring residents' voices are truly heard?
Great. We have a planning commission, and these two individuals have both served on. A lot of those issues and these big plans and developments are coming to the planning commission. A lot of vetting is done there. Lots of public comment are done there. From community citizens can come and voice their concerns as well. I've seen planning commissions really weed out a lot of things. And at that point, for final approval, it has to come to the city council. I'm going to shock some people and say, I kind of like our quaint community. I don't want it to look with another 12 roundabouts and a Costco and all of the other things. And let's be honest, unless you get a Costco or some big box, you're not going to get the influx of sales revenue that you want. And the majority of people who live in Mapleton, they don't want that. I'm just as happy driving across the tracks and going to Harmon's as opposed to bringing all the traffic with a new roundabout in Mapleton. That's just my personal belief. But I do believe that we need to listen to the residents. We have a master plan that's reviewed every 5 to 7 to 10 years, depending on if there need to be changes or not. That master plan is recreated and done. But listening to the residents and neighborhoods and listening to our planning commission. The planning commission really does a lot of the nuts and bolts, and that's what they do is look at the city and where things should go and where they should not go. And I would look for them for a lot of guidance before me as a council, and then listen to people as they come before that vote.
Thank you. Jake, would you like me to repeat the question?
One more time, yes, please.
All
Thank you.
right, it's a big one. When new commercial development proposals come before the city, how would you strike a balance between promoting economic growth and protecting neighborhood character while ensuring residents' voices are truly heard?
Okay. So Mapleton is growing. We all see that Mapleton is growing, and with that comes opportunity for businesses to come in. More rooftops means more needs and wants from commercial developers to come in and develop. I think we don't have, just because we're growing, we don't have to lose our character that we love here in Mapleton. Our city staff, the planning commission, Sean Conroy, our administrative staff have done a phenomenal job at being proactive in looking at this growth and identifying where this growth can happen. We've updated our general plan. They've identified along Highway 89, the corner of Maple and Highway 89, and then on the south end of town where there's some great opportunities for commercial development. Just because we have commercial development doesn't mean we have to lose that small town charm that we have. And part of that, the city staff has gone out and they've made some design standards, some pretty strict design standards that commercial developments have to follow if they come to Mapleton. One of those, we've seen 2 of those come through. The Maverick has increased their design standards to build here in Mapleton. Quick Quack Car Wash increased their design standards to build here in Mapleton. And they all kind of mimic and marry to the design standards that we have set here in Mapleton. And if we build and follow those design standards, we won't lose our rural character. And we'll be able to have the designs that keep our small town feel that we have.
All right, thank you. Everyone kept under your time allotted here. Casey, we'll go to you
Right,
for the
yeah.
next one. No, you're fine.
He thought I'd like to.
No, go for it. Minute 30. Would you like me to read the question?
No, I got it.
Okay.
So as was mentioned, when the general plan was created, citizens were able to give their input on where they wanted commercial to happen. And that's why the zoning along 89 is zoned for commercial. As a city council, we can approve the zoning, but we can't approve each business that applies to come into Mapleton. That's, like was mentioned, done at the planning commission level. We are a small town and big heart. And so when citizens come to us with problems, we respond to those. And a citizen brought a complaint, I think it was about a year ago, saying the walls need to be higher between commercial and residential. And so we listened to that, and we actually changed the ordinance for that. And so the walls are now, they're higher now to make it so that residential and commercial can coincide better. So being representative means we listen to the people. We need to respond to their needs, and that's what we've done with that ordinance.
Thank you. Anyone need an extra 30 seconds for a rebuttal? Melanie?
I'd just like to add to that. The current city council has done a great job at looking forward to the future. And so it's crucial for those who are voted on to continue that and also continue to review it. You plan out for 10, 20 years, but we change so much. So are we reviewing that and making sure that we are also connecting with the communities around us, the cities? Do we have those communications to ensure that we are bringing in what's needed for our residents?
Thank you. Anyone else with 30 seconds?
I got one.
Go ahead, Jake.
So as a planning commission member, we see a lot of things come before the city. And one of those things is changes to our general plan. Our general plan was created and thought out, and we had third-party people come in and voices of the community come in, and they all addressed their concerns in the general plan. Does that mean it's perfect? Absolutely not. There's members sitting in this audience who have come to the city staff and have amended our general plan or amended our codes, our zones, our zoning to be able to make it better. And there are a lot of great ideas, and I would encourage everyone in this audience and those listening at home, if you feel there's a zone change, or not a zone change, but an ordinance change, or something that needs to be done to update our general plan, come in and present that to the city.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to our next question. This one, Francis will answer first. Housing affordability is a significant issue in this state. How would you balance the desire to make housing more affordable with the desire to maintain Mapleton's small-town character? Minute 30.
Wow, that's a lot.
Mouthful.
Listen, never did I ever think $500,000 for a townhome or a condo was considered affordable. That is a problem that the entire state has up and down the state. Mapleton, unfortunately, we've priced our own kids out of coming to live here. If you have a young married couple now in their 20s or maybe even their early 30s, they really can't afford to live here. I'm a big believer. When I served on the council before, there was a fee that was charged for secondary dwellings. So if you had a basement apartment or above the garage apartment, I would look for areas to be able to increase density that way within their own home. So if it's your own child, for example, if I have a married child who wants to live in a garage apartment or something that I've created, I fully support that. I would also look to be able to continue. If you look in the south end of town, when I served 20 years ago, we decided at that time that that's where our high density housing would go. Our condos, our townhomes would be on the south end of town while preserving the East Bench. Our East Bench doesn't look like Bountiful. It doesn't even look like Provo in terms of the amount of things, and to our neighbors to the south, it doesn't look like that either. We've been able to preserve what our mountain looks like and preserve that look while keeping our high density on the far south end of town. Let me also say this, if I may, really quick. When we put Harvest Park in, there was such an outroar that we would have any lot bigger than a half acre. It was, maybe I'll get 30 seconds back.
30 seconds in a little bit here. Jake, would you like me to repeat the question?
One more time, yes, ma'am.
All right. Housing affordability is a significant issue in this state. How would you balance the desire to make housing more affordable with the desire to maintain Mapleton's small-town character?
That is a great question. So one thing that I was able to witness while serving on the Planning Commission is our city staff being proactive, knowing that this was coming, whether it's not, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it's a current mandate from the state to have affordable housing, but it was presented and I think it was voted down. But have affordable housing and have it here in Mapleton, like Francis said, it's hard. I mean, $500,000 for a townhome, me 20 years ago could never afford that, and I don't know how these residents are. But the city staff has been proactive. Years ago, they came up with, and they've changed the ordinances to allow basement apartments. You pay a fee, you're allowed to have your basement as an apartment, and that's creating affordable housing to some of our residents. Another one was ADUs, accessory dwelling units. You could have a garage or shop or an accessory building outside of your home. I think there's restrictions, 1,200 square feet, correct me if I'm wrong, with the current square footage, where you could then have an apartment for affordable housing. And those two, we were able to meet the needs that the state had kind of set for guidelines for affordable housing. And then, like Francis said, the south end of town, the general plan has designated that for high-density housing. And so allowing developers, currently Edge Homes is building that out to be able to have high-density housing there was a planned part of our general plan, and I supported it.
Thank you. Casey, we'll go to you. Would you like me to repeat the question? All right.
I got it. First and foremost, we have not raised property taxes in the last 4 years, and so the city council has done their part to make it more affordable. This is a big topic in Utah, of course, and nationwide. I think I mentioned this in the last debate, but I wish we didn't go to government for all the solutions. When government gets involved, the solution could be worse for our residents. There are 190,000 entitled units that have been approved by cities like Mapleton's, and developers are sitting on these, on building these units for when it makes most business sense. And so the state legislature has been proactive about trying to accomplish to try to solve this issue, and there needs to be more wait and see to see what happens once the developers start building these units. I've heard from other state legislators, not Stephen White and not Francis, but that they've talked about taking zoning away from cities. And that is the absolute wrong way to take this issue. It doesn't need to be solved that way. Taking zoning away from local governments is one of the worst ideas out there. Government is best done at a local level. In the general plan sessions, the public was asked this question, and they mentioned accessory dwelling units as Mapleton's solution to that. We submitted a plan in 2022. We submitted a plan a couple months ago. They've been accepted by the state. So every year we have to submit a plan of what Mapleton is doing to tackle this issue of affordable housing. But again, first and foremost, let's not always look to government for the solutions to everything.
Thank you. Casey, we'll go to Melanie.
Can you repeat it
Yes.
just in case?
Yeah, housing affordability is a significant issue in this state. How would you balance the desire to make housing more affordable with the desire to maintain Mapleton's small-town character?
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with each of these individuals up here. It is a state issue, and it's been talked about for several years. I think the main thing that's important for our community is that we know where our needs are and where we need to grow. And so working closely with our representatives to help them understand that we want to make those decisions for our city, but also making sure that we are staying within the legal standards. Like Jake had mentioned, the ADUs, making sure that we are enabling our residents to be able to also help with that income as well. We have a lot of families that need that extra income, and so are they able to rent out space to bring their children in, but also make some income. Being flexible, but also staying within our plan. We are pretty much built out, planned out, I guess, with our residential. Again, are we reviewing that as we continue to grow? Are we reviewing that to make sure that it works for our community, for our area, as well as following the standards set legally through our state? It goes right back to being sure that it's a creative and a smart growth. Francis mentioned Harvest Park. It's a great little community that brings in that higher density, but it also keeps the feel and the values that we cherish within our small community.
Thank you. We're going to move to our little rebuttal. I know, Francis, you wanted 30 seconds. Anyone else wants an extra 30 seconds to that question? All right, we'll go to, we'll go to Francis and then Casey.
Thank you. I mean, Harvest Park was built, and it was the first subdivision that really was considered high density, but very quality, high-valued homes. And the reason I bring that up is that sometimes I think people look at high density as being the pariah of a community. When you have that attitude as a city leader, you have to strategically plan where you're going to put it, but you're telling your kids you can't move home. Because I don't know any kid or any young person, young married couple, early in their careers, very few, that can afford some of the single-family homes we have in Mapleton. And so as those are in the south end of town, they're properly placed, we should welcome that in those areas and be able to welcome our kids back home.
All right, Casey, we'll go to you for 30 seconds.
This is just such a small point, but just to mention that for a city council, we can set how big a lot size is, but we don't set how big the home is. And so even when we try to make things affordable, that doesn't necessarily mean that the developer will make it affordable. So as a city, we do our part to set zoning, but it ultimately is the developer based on market conditions on how they're going to build that unit.
But we do approve CC&Rs. And so as CC&Rs come through a community and through planning commission, those can determine what size a home can be built.
Melanie, Jake?
Yeah, and then just to follow up, there is guidelines and requirements. A home can't be more than a certain percentage of the lot itself, and that's another way to limit the size of the home. But one of the things that gets talked about, high density doesn't have to be done in a way where you're taken away from the rural small town feel. Yes, high density is high density, but there's ways to be creative about it with cluster developments, or what the city council and Mayor Hicks did with the south end of town, renegotiating those developments, where they increased the density, but they also increased how much green space we have as a community. So,
Yeah, high density is kind of those red words that people stress out about, and there's a way to be creative to support the feel of our community, and also making it able for our aging citizens, young citizens, and our families to be able to afford it. A lot of what they've talked about today is crucial for our community. We want to continue to have that small town feel as we continue to grow. And the huge part of that is we talk about the housing, but a huge part is connection. Are we helping our citizens be connected?
All right, thank you. We've come to the two-part question. So this one, we're going to start with Francis. No, we're going to start with Jake. We're already on number 4. Thanks for keeping me honest. All right, so this one, 2 parts. What decision or decisions of the current mayor and council do you agree with, and what decision, if any, do you disagree with? And that's question 1. Question 2, and who do you support for mayor? So 2-part question there.
wow, you want to put us on the spot right there. So I guess we're giving out
I know, sorry, I'm the
tonight.
messenger. Remember, I'm the messenger. No, but would you like me to reread that, or?
There's decisions that we agree with and disagree with.
Decisions that you, decision or decisions of current mayor and council that you agree or disagree with. And then the second part, who do you support for mayor?
Okay. So there's a lot of things that have come before the city council and Mayor Hicks last 7.5 years, for Mayor Hicks in the last 4 years for some of our council members that have been truly great. Some of the things that I would strongly agree with is renegotiating developments that came before Mapleton City on the south end of town. It has brought tremendous value to the city financially, and then also gaining some additional acreage for Parks and Recs with the parks on the south end of town, and then Sunrise Ranch as well. So heavily agree with being able to renegotiate those development agreements that were signed prior to the current administration, that were done kind of almost without researching and understanding the citizens of Mapleton. There was some referendums that went out on those, and there was a lot of people in this body that came in to voice their dissupport of that. And then who I support. So because of that, getting to know both candidates, I've worked with Theron on the Planning Commission. Theron is a member of the community, the northern part of the community I live in. He's a great individual, great, honest man. But my vote would go to Dallas Hicks because of his leadership in renegotiations of development, his experience as a developer, as a contractor, his vision for where we go as a city, how he plans to create additional sources of revenue for the city with fiber, with power, and with the opportunity to lease some of our extra water rights that we're not using as a city. I'm hugely supportive of those.
All right, thank you. We'll move to Casey. Would you like me to?
No, I got it. I'm just trying to figure out how to
Okay.
answer it still. Because I'm on the city council, right, what I disagree with. There have been a couple times where I was the lone vote against something. One of them was 190 extra units for Edge Homes. I felt we could have done, so I was the lone vote opposed to that, but it ultimately did pass. I felt that we could have done a little bit better negotiating more from the developer, so that'll be where I disagree with the council. And agree, I like how we really care about the general plan. We really care what individuals have to say to us, especially when zone changes affects their neighborhood. neighborhood and affects the property. So that's where I strongly agree, and maybe I did that in the wrong order. This is a tough one because I've worked with Mayor Hakes and Theron for several years, and they're both great men. And I appreciate what was said earlier about how divisive it's been. I think it's divisive because of social media. Social media rewards, and it rewards contention, it rewards attention grabbing, and I really am not, I don't like that at all. So we both have two very capable men. We're in good hands, whatever direction it goes. For me, I do believe in term limits. Mayor Hakes told me 4 years ago that he was this would have been his last term, and so I kind of was emotionally kind of with that, and so I do believe in term limits. I think term limits help more people get involved with the city, getting fresh perspectives, more urgency, and so I think term limits. For that reason, I'd vote for Theron.
All right,
Sorry, that's not the only reason. I also agree with a lot of what Theron has proposed, and I think he's a great man and would do a great job.
Thank you. Melanie, we'll go to you.
Yes, thank you. So what I agree or disagree with,
What
current
decision or decisions of the current mayor, and council do you agree with, and what decisions do you disagree with? And then who do you support for mayor?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I decided to run is because there's a lot of things that the current council and mayor have started, and I want to be able to be a part of that and continue, and that is finding creative revenue sources for our community to keep the taxes low for our citizens, because as we've mentioned, our taxes are a little bit higher and our utilities are higher than most communities in our housing. And so what revenue sources can we bring in? They started with a fiber. I know mayor and the council are looking into other sources, power. And so to continue that research, working with the communities that surround us to see what we can benefit from as well. Also, they've put a huge focus on the Parks and Rec department, finding the needs of our community, getting kids and families outside. I agree with that. Something that I don't want to say disagree, because you can only do so much, especially when you have so many things going on. It's the communication between the citizens and the council. I'm a huge advocate for education, communication, and connection. And so finding ways to be able to communicate to the citizens what's happening and what's needed, and getting their input is important to me. As far as who do I choose for mayor, they're both great men. I am passionate with public safety like Theron, but I'm also passionate with business, and that's our next focus within our community. And so I agree with 98% of what Mayor Hakes has been doing, and so I support him.
All right, thank you, Francis. We'll go to you. Do you want me to read the question?
No, I think I got it.
Okay.
I look at what we've done in the South End, sort of the way that's coming apart. I really like that. I really like our public safety with regards to sidewalks, our road maintenance, some of the things that are going on. It seems like just 2 days ago, man, if you went 1600, there was like cones everywhere. You couldn't drive. And then I came back one night, same night, I woke up and they were gone. And lots of road maintenance going on right now. I like the way our roads are. Transportation is a big issue for me. I also like the fact that we are pretty transparent. I said in this city council member in this chamber before, we would have 6 people, and that was a big night. And then there'll be issues. We'll have someone being honored in the city, a fireman, rightfully so, for years of service or certification, and this place will be packed. And then they will leave, and then we'll have a meeting. When I first served, we used to get the most vile comments at that pulpit directed towards the city council from a particular person. I said, this isn't going to happen. We're going to start videoing it, and we're going to put it on a tape and let it be checked out in the library for people to see. That's how far we've come in terms of our open and our transparency. There are ways for citizens to figure out what's going on in the city, between newsletters, between open meetings, between the internet. Everything is out there if we want to find it. I am actually glad that we've come as far as we have in the amount of time. In terms of mayor, term limits is like saying, you know what, Tom Brady, you've been the quarterback for too long. You need to leave. We have won too much. So you're gone. It's ridiculous. I think as long as we have a mayor that is doing a great thing for this city, and we have Theron, a city council member who's actually voted for everything and all the great progress, why would I want to stop that now? Casey, at realm of putting my own self at risk, he's voted for it, and he's done a great job between Casey and
We'll come back to
Theron.
your 30-second rebuttal.
All right, so Dallas Hakes.
Second rebuttal?
All right. 30-second rebuttal. Anyone else would like a 30-second on that
Let
question?
Francis finish, and then I'll go right after.
Oh, okay. There you go. Do you want to keep
Thank you for yielding some time. In all seriousness, though, we have Theron, who's been a great city council member, along with our other council members. We have Casey Beck, who's seeking re-election. Why would we stop the progress? Why would we start new of everything that we have going on now in this city and everything that needs to be going on in the next 4 years? Term limits, I appreciate what people mean by that, term limits, but sometimes term limits set you back, and the progress that you're making is halted. Don't take Tom Brady out of being Tom Brady just because he's been quarterback for too long. Or Michael Jordan, 6 titles, that's too much for the Bulls. We don't need to do that anymore.
All right, Jake, your turn. Do
Yeah.
you want 30 seconds?
30 seconds, yes, please. Casey, I'm going to put you on the spot here because you brought this up. You voted against the Edge Homes development because you thought we could get more. What more could we have negotiated better than what was negotiated? I believe we had $3.5 million in cash that was donated to the city by the developer, more open space than the original plan that was originally presented and approved, extra miles dedicated to our Parks and Recs trails, dedicated and paid for by the developer. What else could we have gotten?
Yeah. Am I able to go now?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'll give you a little bit more. Let's do 45
okay,
seconds.
great.
Since he called you out by name,
Yeah,
we'll
no,
give you a
it-
little bit more.
It's good, and that was within, I think, the first few months of being in office, and I was like, well, here we go. So 3 parks were part of that initial development, and we negotiated for them to not have to build any of those, and we only got $3.2 million from it. What it takes to build a park now is about $2 million, and so I believe we should have gotten more than $3.2 million. And I think it was justified, just the cost it takes to build parks. I think we could have gotten at least $2 million per park, so probably in the ballpark of $6 million. I also don't think we had to earmark it necessarily for the mountain bike park. I think it could have been spent generally for other uses in the city. So those are 2 points I think we could have done a little better.
Thank
It
you.
was also at a time when Edge Homes was really struggling. Their homes were falling off a cliff in Draper. I think we were in a good position to
Thank you,
negotiate better.
Casey. Melanie, would you like 30 seconds? You're the only one that didn't get in on the conversation
No,
here.
you're good. I just like to focus on the transparency that Francis brought up because it's so vital. That is something that's been huge for within this recent, in the oncoming city council. We have it recorded, we have the newsletters, they're always putting emails out, trying to reach the community, but transparency only goes so far. We need to make sure that there's other outlets. So let's reach to our community members and say, how are we missing you? Because again, the city can only do so much. We need to educate, communicate, and find other resources to make sure that the citizens are aware of what's happening.
All right, thank you. Our last and final question here, we're going to start with Casey. We're back to our starting point. What is the top project, initiative, or policy that you would like to accomplish or enact in the next 4 years as member of the City Council?
What's really important to me, and I mentioned this in my introduction, land use, rural charm, these things are very important to me. Too often, we'll have a zoning change request before us, but we have no opinions from neighbors. We just have the opinion from the applicant. For me, it's been important to me to go and knock doors, send texts, make phone calls to understand how the zone change will affect the neighborhood. And not to say that that's how I'll vote, based on how the neighborhood wants it, but getting more perspectives, especially when something important, something like that will change their lives forever. It'll change their neighborhood forever. When this proposed development was in my neighborhood, I knew that it was going to change the neighborhood development, the neighborhood forever. I knew that there's farmland around our neighborhood that would also be impacted. And so for me, the initiative of seeking out more opinions, especially when land use is involved and zone changes will affect neighbors.
Thank you, Casey. Melanie, we'll go to you. Do you want me to read the question? All right. What is the top project, initiative, or policy that you would like to accomplish or enact in the next 4 years as a member of the City Council?
Yeah, so something that we have to remember is there are 5 city council members. Each one has their unique gifts, skills, network, and abilities that we want to be able to make sure that we're reaching all of our community members. We don't want 5 of the same cookie cutter council members. We want to make sure that we're all using our skills to the best ability. My passion, and I'm the chair of the community preparedness, is public safety. It involves our physical safety as well as our emotional safety. Are we looking at the mental health of our citizens, and are we bringing in resources. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can just provide the networks that work to help our citizens grow, and that's a huge passion. Again, I'm focused on educating and connection. We talk about we want to continue the small town value and feel of our community, but there's so many of the citizens I've talked to that even though we're creating these events, they still feel like they're outside of that network. So what are we doing to help them feel connected? And so that's a huge passion that I have that I would bring to this the seat.
All right, thank you. Francis, we'll go to you.
Thank you. I think transportation corridors, the I-15 access as it comes into Mapleton, there's a lot that has to happen once it gets from there by T-Bone, I forget, the Highway 51 or whatever that road is. There's a lot that needs to be done, but that is going to be a major dumping point as it comes right in front of Fizz. And that's going to be a major area, and there are going to be citizens who are going to have something to say about all that traffic coming their way. Looking at that, improved sidewalk access. Our kids need to get to school. I've been here long enough that all 4 of my kids have went through Mapleton schools, and there are just some areas, it's unsafe. You can't walk. We've started to do that. I'd like to see that continues to get done. Trails, hiking, biking, continue that those other corridors get done. Additional revenue resources. I'm sorry, but we are about done with impact fees, and property taxes are the next one that goes through. But I do want to remind people that 75% of your property tax does not go to City of Mapleton. It goes to Nebo School District, and so whenever there is a public school board election, I hope that there's as much enthusiasm about that as they set the tax rate for that comes here. So only about 14 to 16% come to Mapleton. So those are additional revenue sources, transportation corridors, and access to I-15, knowing that that is coming, and I'd like to be able to see how we can integrate that into the city.
All right, Jake, we'll go to you. Do you want me to read the question?
Repeat it one more time.
All
sorry.
right. What is the top project, initiative, or policy that you would like to accomplish or enact in the next 4 years as member of the City Council?
I think one of the top ones is revenue, additional sources of revenue as a city. We need to be proactive these next 4 years so they don't have to be reactive in the next 8 to 10 years when we didn't plan. Serving in the military, I spent 8 years in the Utah Army National Guard, loved my service in the military. One of the things they taught me was the 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. If we don't plan now, our taxes will go up in the future. And so one of the main things that I would like to see continue is the plans that Mayor Hakes has provided and the City Council has all voted on and agreed to do, is making sure fiber stays consistent, making sure it stays successful, making sure we have the right people and management involved there, bringing on the utility of power by the city following the steps of Spanish Fork City, Springville, and Provo. They've done it successfully. Let's pattern Mapleton after that. Let's create additional sources of revenue for our city to help pay for transportation, our city sidewalks, roads. We need to start planning for that. And so additional sources of revenue paired with bringing forth additional services that our city wants and needs, additional parks, increasing our parks and recs. We do have some amazing activities that go on throughout the city, encouraging those, making those bigger and better, and bringing more services for our city to get together and enjoy our time together as a community that we all love and we've all wanted to stay and live here in Mapleton for.
All right, thank you. Due to the interest of time, we're going to kind of be done with our 30-second rebuttals. We're going to move over to our closing statement. So each of you will get 2 minutes, and we're going to go back to our ballot. And so, Jake, I'm so sorry. Casey, you're going to go first, and we'll just go down the line, okay? So 2 minutes, closing statement.
Thank you, Carolina, for hosting this, and thank you for city staff for putting it on. Thank all of you for being here, for caring about your community. I'm sure all of you were part of that 42% that voted, and please get your neighbors. Let's get that number up for the general election. But I also really want to thank all the candidates that are running and that have ran for this for city council, but also for mayor. It is a thankless job. You do go through a lot of scrutiny, and so to just be willing to put yourself out there for public office, a major kudos to everyone that does that. And Stephen White is here, and he does a great job of representing us, and thank you for all you do for Mapleton as well. Over the next 4 years, there will be many decisions made that have long-lasting implications on our town and our town's future. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but those two things of making sure we get public safety and prioritizing preserving Mapleton's charm. If we can get those two things right as we grow, then I think we've done a good job. When my family and I, when we moved to Mapleton, we loved living in a town with 2 streetlights and 2 parades a year, Pioneer Day and the first day of baseball. It's so small town, I love it. We need to be intentional about, we can't go back to those days of 2 streetlights. We had a master transportation plan meeting the other day, and I think I saw 8 streetlights that'll eventually become to Mapleton. Not right away, but just phased over time. And so we're gonna grow, but we can be intentional about how we grow and making sure we get those 2 things right. And those have been my priorities over the last 4 years, and they'll continue to be so if I'm reelected. Thank you.
Thank you. Melanie, we'll go to you, 2 minutes.
Thank you all for being here, those that are here and as well as those that are listening in. As you prepare to vote, I encourage you to reach out to the candidates. Don't just research, but to reach out and have that conversation with them. And we're limited to time restrictions within the debate time, and so continue the conversations, get to know them better, to see who you connect with, who will represent your voice. Again, I'm community-minded, service-oriented, a resident who deeply invested in Mapleton and its growth. I've had the privilege of working closely with the city and staff the years that I've been here as a volunteer and also on committees. And so I'd like to continue to help the momentum continue as we also reach out to our citizens and see what the need is for them. We can sit up here as a city council and decide for the community, but we need to know through the citizens what their needs are and help prioritize that. I bring a unique blend of experience from a small business to the Chamber of Commerce to public safety to this position. I've seen firsthand how strong local leadership can shape our community for the good. But beyond titles and experience, I believe in people. I believe in the families that are here, the residents that want to be here. And I cherish the small town values that we all come to enjoy here in this community. As Mapleton is growing, we want to make sure that we are helping it grow in a smart way. It will continue to grow. We can't stop the growth, but we can help it grow in a smart way and to benefit each of the citizens that are here, to help keep them happy, healthy, and safe. I'm not running just to fill a seat. I'm running to be the voice of the citizens, those who vote for me, hopefully. I want to be that listening ear and also be the bridge between our residents and our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Francis, we'll go to you. 2 minutes.
Thank you. I think there's a poem, it's the man in the arena, but I'll just say the person in the arena since we won't be gender, but I appreciate everyone willing to do this. There's a lot of scrutiny that goes on this. I've done this before, both in the city level and the state legislature level. Politics today suck. They're vile, they're disgusting. Social media is out of control. If you could read some of the emails that I've gotten from citizens in Mapleton, there are not good people that live in Mapleton as well, just because of the sheer things that they put out there. But that is such a small minority for the many good men and women that live in this city. I'm willing to subject myself to that negativity to serve those good that are living in this community. What do I bring? I've served in the city council before. As Councilmember Beck spoke about things that are long-lasting. You're sitting in a building that we were persecuted for voting to do. We don't need this. We need that old little white building across the street. That's going to be sufficient enough. Can you imagine if we didn't have this in our current fire station and police offices? We wouldn't have those. That was a hard decision that was made that people did not want, but look at us now. That's 20 years lasting. A canal on the east side. Oh, there's this little thing that we started with $5,000 called a fireworks show. It lasted all of about 11 minutes. Oh, I would say that's been a success. And it is something that all of South County looks like. That was another decision I made. Not me independently, but collectively with our members. I've been a state legislator. I understand funding leagues of cities and towns and how the state flows with the city and vice versa. What monies are out there and what needs to be tapped into. That experience means something. I'm willing to reapply that and really use that in the community that I've lived in for 25 years. I look in this audience, I see many people that supported me then, and I'm hoping to continue to get that support now. And those who are watching, if you don't know me, I look forward to knowing you. It's ironic that some of the emails that came across, I've asked to meet people in person and they've refused. Vote for Francis Gibson. He's apparently third on the ballot.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jake, we'll go to you next. Sorry. I'm trying to keep a straight face. You're fourth on the ballot, Jake. 2 minutes.
I'd like to thank our moderator, Caroline, for the time and effort she's put into it, our city staff for coming out and putting this on, and my fellow candidates for the time and effort they put forth to running for city council. I have a tremendous respect for all three of them. I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your day for coming out and listening to us and getting to know us and our vision for city council. Our city is at a crossroads. Growth is continuing to come, but how we shape it, I believe it is up to us as a city and residents. I believe we can welcome the services and opportunities our residents want and need without losing the rural character, neighborhoodly spirit, and small-town charm that makes Mapleton our home. That balance is what I'm committed to protecting. If elected, I will work to ensure growth is thoughtful and community-driven so families can thrive, local businesses can succeed, and our quality of life continues to rise. I also believe my experience as a contractor, developer, and my background in architecture will allow me to do the same thing, asking the right questions, understanding the details, and ensuring our community gets the most out of every decision. My background is not a liability. It is a strength that I bring with pride, and I am committed to using in the service of the people of Mapleton. My promise is simple. I will serve with integrity, transparency, and genuine care for the people of Mapleton. I will listen first and always be a strong voice for our residents, making decisions that honor both our values and the future we are building together. Mapleton is more than a city. It's a community, a home, a legacy we all share. Together we can ensure that legacy shines brightly for generations to come. Let's grow responsibly, care deeply, and keep Mapleton the special place we're all proud to call our home.
Thank you. And with that, we're done with our candidate debate forum. Thank you, everybody, for being here this evening. If you have any questions, you can speak with the candidates directly for a little bit. We'll leave the room open for the next 20 minutes or so, and then we'll try to clear things out. So thank you for being here.